The following events are one of those difficult things to believe, but they actually happened. No historian doubts this, and there are many records. In the year 1518, in a small street in Strasbourg, a woman named Frau Trophia starts dancing without any reason. Suddenly, without music, she simply and abruptly begins to dance frantically, and somehow, the madness of Frau Trophia infected other people who started dancing as well. Within a week, a group of over 30 people were dancing day and night on that street, and after a month, more than 400 people were involved in this chaotic dance without stopping. However, do not think that these people were having a party and having fun. They joined the dance involuntarily, some cried for help, danced, and walked for so long that their feet bled. Of course, some people danced for so many consecutive days that they ended up dying from exhaustion or a heart attack. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Interesting Day. In today's video, we will try to understand the famous dancing epidemic, the most well-known case of collective hysteria that we have on record. We will explore how it started, what happened, and how it ended. Is there an explanation for this? That's what we're going to find out. Well, in 1518, for no apparent reason, Frau Trophia started dancing. As if that wasn't strange enough, it seems that her sudden dance infected other residents of the city, who gradually joined her. At first, nobody paid much attention. Some people said that the woman just wanted to provoke her husband, while others thought it was her own madness and that of those who joined her. A large portion of the city even found amusement in watching the dancing and everything that came with it. Things only started to be taken seriously for two reasons. First, when hundreds of people joined this madness, which obviously affected the city's activities. People were neglecting work, family, and their responsibilities to dance non-stop. And second, of course, when these people began to hurt themselves and die. Frau Trophia herself was one of the first to go to the grave. After dancing non-stop for 6 days, she would sleep for a few hours and then wake up dancing again. It may sound chemical, but it was actually quite macabre. The city authorities then gathered anyone who could help and find an answer. Doctors, priests, even astrologers were consulted, but all possibilities were ruled out. That situation was very strange, highly unusual. The conclusion reached by everyone was that it might be some natural illness, and the best course of action was to let people heal on their own, that time would cure them. However, they also decided to prepare a place for those affected by the dancing. A hall was reserved, an improvised stage was built, and musicians were hired to play day and night. With everything ready, the people who were dancing were taken to the hall. You've probably heard the expression trying to put out a fire with alcohol or even clapping for a crazy person to dance. Well, that's exactly what they did with this hall. Music playing and everyone gathered, the phenomenon spread even faster. And that's how it reached its peak with 400 people dancing until they couldn't take it anymore. Some danced until their death, but the exact number of casualties is unknown. All we have are records from the city and medical records from that time. In those records, there is information about a certain day when 15 people died. And finally, the dancing epidemic ended just as suddenly as it began. People lost interest in dancing, little by little, after about a whole month of this madness. And one day, gradually, everyone stopped, until the hall was empty. The event witnessed in this city is now known to be a case of collective hysteria. Collective hysteria occurs when a particular group of people simultaneously exhibit extremely strange behavior, as if they all share the same madness or delusion. Usually, this is the point where I would explain how things work, but the thing is, collective hysteria is still something that cannot be fully explained. Science does not yet have the answers as to why someone suddenly loses their mind, starts believing in something surreal, or engages in senseless actions while also spreading this madness to others. As I mentioned before, it is so insane that it's hard to believe, but it is true. In fact, there are dozens of other examples of collective hysteria from around the world and throughout history, and it all remains a great mystery. Historian John Waller, who wrote the book The Dancing Plague, has an interesting theory about this episode. Have you ever seen someone become desperate, lose emotional control, and simply start laughing? Waller draws a parallel between this situation and the plight of people in the Middle Ages. As you know, their lives were miserable: harsh winters, famine, drought, war, and disease. Perhaps, instead of laughing in despair, people started to dance. It's an intriguing theory, but honestly, I don't believe it because it doesn't explain the collective hysterias we see in modern times. For example, the laughing epidemic in a school or people in a neighborhood believing they are sick, despite doctors diagnosing them as healthy. And let's not forget the Salem witch trials, where everyone began accusing each other of witchcraft. Collective hysteria is truly a mystery, but one thing we can be certain of from this story is that our brains are capable of things we can't even imagine or comprehend. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments. Thank you for joining us on Interesting Day. See you next time.